To now, we've only been doing project support, which is in line with what our country partnership framework. But with the reform in place, we've readjusted our pipeline, our list of projects coming, to factor in this budget support. It will be a 3-year program for $300 million each, totaling $900 million over 3 years. And we expect, because the fund program will overlap the year after, we will put another 250. So we will put over the 4 years about 1.1 billion. I'll come back to that. Then, because of the effects of the fiscal consolidation, we've also brought in early on additional financing for social protection of 150 million, which is going to the board this month. So this will come early. Our budget support will come in the second half of the year. But we've also brought in a financial sector support project, as you know, with the domestic restructuring of debt, domestic debt. This have impacted the banks. The capital adequacy have been hit. And as we speak, most banks, if not all, are probably below the capital adequacy requirement. And we are bringing in $250 million in emergency financial support project to help central bank and government cushion the impact on the banks of liquidity, and we're focusing mostly on solvency issues. But I want to make an important point. We will continue to deliver our regular projects. For instance, now in this month, we will bring an agriculture diversification project to the board, 400 million. We will also bring additional financing of 150 for Great Accra Resilience Project. So we will continue to do our regular work.
Let me try and focus on the budget support as a program thing, and that about $900 million. Is that also before the board? When are we hoping that we could be getting the first tranche? Will that be dependent on, just like the IMF program, meeting some conditions or prior actions to ensure that those disbursements come in? Can you update us on that one, please?
Absolutely. Our plan, our hope, is we can bring this to the board by September. But it will all depend how fast we reach agreement with government on the prior actions. It may be September, it may slip in October, but we're hoping we need to do it this year because IMF has factored into its financing gap. You know, when IMF goes to the board, if there's a gap, they cannot go. So they factored in 300 million from the World Bank. But this 300 million, I want to be very clear, it's not acquired, it's not given, it's not taken that World Bank will come and give. We need to have a strong reform package from government that accompanies as prior actions for us to deliver this 300 million. And these have to be in areas where us and government agree. These areas that have caused problems for the budget or for the sectors. For instance, I cannot go in all the details because we are still talking, but where we feel we want to intervene in 4 pillars. One is the whole aspect of domestic revenue mobilization, which IMF also has some aspects because, you know, as we all know, Ghana's revenue GDP ratio is quite low, and we're hoping to accompany IMF reforms, government reforms to raise revenues. And there's a whole aspect around, you know, fiscal management, PFM, expenditure management. So we'll look at all these aspects. A second aspect is private sector development and financial sector. To accompany our financial sector project, we will also push for some reforms in the financial sector, because it's one thing to put money to address the problems now, but there are some long-term issues that still remain outstanding, and it will be important for Ghana to resolve, and we will support these reforms in that project. As I said before, when you have a kind of a very severe consolidation as you're having now, it's important to consider the growth agenda also, because one thing is to squeeze the budget for you to realign and be able to pay your debt in the future, protect the poor, which we're doing through the social protection project, but also how do you keep the economy going? You need to maintain your growth agenda. You need to maintain economic growth, because the faster you grow, the faster the economy will recover, your ratios of revenue will improve, your ability to pay your debt will improve, and the economy will recover faster. And we need to relook at, we want to discuss with government certain reforms in the investment climate, because what brings you FDI is a good, sound investment climate. And today, there are areas where Ghana needs to do more. But the other two, very quickly, is energy. as I've said before, we all know energy is a huge burden on the fiscal framework. Government is subsidizing the energy sector over $1 billion a year. And something needs to be done urgently. And I must say that, unfortunately, reforms in that sector have been slow. And we're hoping with the program it will accelerate. And finally, the whole issue of building resilience. We have a pillar that will address, bring support to build socio-economic resilience, improve your social protection framework, because the World Bank may not always be giving money. Government, the budget has to be able to bring its own funding, the structures, the policies have to be there. And finally, climate.